Hello and welcome to Tipsy VP episode 11th October 2019, a weekly show where we share tips and tricks on how to improve your social media. Tipsy VP is brought to you by Peddlers Marketing, the digital marketing expert that helps more businesses go digital. My name is Sean.
And I'm JK.
This week's weekly Tipsy, 5 Kickass Instagram story tips from Vice. Vice is the Vice Media. Okay. Vice Media is one of the most successful digital journalism companies today. They are owning social media presence where bigger and older brands are struggling just to survive. The company publishes over 1,500 pieces of content daily. That's a lot, ranging from podcast to print. But their most successful is still video. Senior Director of Multi-Platform Yu Yong Lee shares their tips of doing well on Instagram stories. Number 1, get a storyboard. It's one thing to just shoot and post on Instagram stories spontaneously, but if you want to get serious and really stand out, you have to treat it as a media channel worth spending time on. This is something that most of us do not do. We do not actually spend time to storyboard an Insta story. Because why? Mostly because why? We always think that just because it's a 15-second length video and has a 24-hour span, we shouldn't pay attention to it. It should be more spontaneous. But Vice Media says otherwise. They say that you should pay attention to it because they say when it's done right, stories will get you more valuable engagement than posts, which is true because Instagram stories does actually get more engagement than posts.
Because it's 15 seconds, so people tend to let's give a full attention to it.
Yeah.
And you get 100%.
Exactly. So based on the attention and not based on how long it lasts, you should actually pay more attention to build stories than post.
Yep.
Building a story here isn't asking you to create all the content by yourselves. Mix it up with shared content from your audience and other accounts. Having a direction figured out will make the flow more sensible. So out of the 10 clips, right? You maybe want to have 2 clips where you source from outside and the other 8 clips you create inside. So then clip 3, clip 4 onwards, you source outside. Clip 5 inside, clip 6 source outside. So that is how the storyboard works. Traditional storyboards won't work here as well. People's attention are still as short as ever, and swiping next is near effortless. So you will need to build a storyboard differently, which are 2 things. Number 1 is the overall storyboard, where you need to answer the question, what is this set of stories about? And what is the overall flow of the content? And at the same time, you also need to focus on each clip, where every single clip needs to have enough hook in the video itself, so viewers don't get bored and leave. So there are 2 sections here, right? You have the overarching story itself, where let's say in 10 clips you want to tell a story, and also in every single clip there needs to be enough attention, there needs to be enough interest.
I see. Okay.
So they don't go boring.
Yeah, it's halfway. Okay. For instance, it's like Harry Potter, the whole sequels. Okay, every single chapter has its one major plot twist.
Yes. And each major plot twist also have like the peak, the most interesting part. So if you were to cut all this together and leave out the rest, that is how you build a storyboard. A proper trailer. And that is how you build a storyboard for Instagram stories.
True. Right. Second one, use your in-house talents. The people in your company will get more engagement than you will as a brand. No matter how famous your brand, this is just how the social media platform is built for. Have your talents organize takeovers when they manage your stories' entire production process. They will be the star of your channel for a short time. In doing so, your brand will be seen as a fun and experimental. And you will also give a chance for your audience to get personally acquainted with your employees. Yep, this is good. So you give a fresh image every single time.
Yeah, it's
fresh idea.
Like, for example, you imagine if you have a company, each of your company has maybe the head of department or assistant head of department or someone like an executive or something.
Yep.
Each of them will have the ability to take over the Instagram story for a period of time. And when they do the takeover, they're able to provide their personal touch to it. And they can get creative in different manners. And by doing so, it makes your Instagram stories more interesting, spicier,
Something different.
Something
least.
different.
It may be a good or bad different to compare to the previous one, but at least it's a different.
Yeah, yes, yes. Like, I wouldn't say bad in a way because, well, I guess there needs to be a little bit of training involved before you get them to take over your
True.
Instagram stories. But once that's done, I wouldn't say it's either better or worse, but it's just a different taste. Like,
Different.
if you get
preference.
if you get someone from finance, do marketing people and sales people just won't be able to handle it.
Everything's about figures and facts.
Yeah.
And everything's numbers.
But I believe that other finance and accounting people will find it interesting.
Yeah, they're quite fun to play with.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
Yeah, and there is also this thing where social media actually is built for engagement to happen between people and not between humans and brands. So if you have a human being take up as a face of your company, your engagement will get a lot better as well.
Yeah, true. It's like switching from ambassador to ambassador. You
Yeah.
need something different.
Yeah.
You can't keep to the same ambassador for a very long period.
And the best thing is, every single ambassador has their own following,
yeah, correct.
and you can actually reach out to their following as well, which
Yep.
is good. It's
Yeah.
like you're tapping on each other's resources.
Cross marketing.
Yeah. The third one, use stories to pilot new ideas. Creating good stories and series can cost a lot of time and money. The last thing we want is to roll out final products only to realize nobody is interested in them. Instagram stories is the perfect platform to test ideas out and to get feedback of your audience. There are a large collection of feedback stickers can work wonders. You have polls, you have questions, you have multiple choice, you have a lot of like the bar, the scale thing, you know. So by collecting instant data, we will know if ideas for content can even work, even without spending money to actually roll out a new
Survey.
channel or a new show or a new campaign. You can just run a test out there and ask people, hey, we are thinking of creating a content that looks like this. How many of you guys would be interested?
Yeah.
It may not be 100% accurate, but it's still better than nothing.
And I think that the quality of the response is better.
Yes.
It's not very random because those are really loyal customers
Yes.
that follows you.
Yes.
They'll only reply you.
Yes. And you get to see who are the ones who reply you.
Correct.
It's not like you put an ad out on Facebook and see how many people clicked on your
Ask
DM.
Survey Monkey and then go to the college kids and okay, I'll just tick for the sake of ticking.
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing.
yes, yeah, true. So you get like actual followers, real people who are interested in what you do and following you, and then you can also ask them, based on these three things, which are the ones that you want to see us create. You know, which kind of content you want to see us create.
Yep.
Then once they give like the highest one is the one that you know which to create. So you really have to answer even before spending thousands and hundreds of thousands creating the content.
That's right.
Okay, this is the first week we are running an advertisement mid-episode. We will be doing this with some of our clients and hope to be able to see if we can actually use this vehicle to get a little bit more traction on our clientele. So this episode of Tipsy BP, is brought to you by Chop Tiang Bee Cafe at the heart of Malacca, Malaysia. Chop Tiang Bee serves authentic Nyonya and fusion cuisines and is located at Jonker Street, just 5 minutes walk from the famous Red Square and A Famosa in Malacca City. Their most iconic dishes include the curry laksa and nasi lemak. Also equally impressive are their range of homemade cakes like carrot cake, which uses pineapples instead of raisins, and the onde onde cheesecake, which is a must try. I love the onde onde cheesecake. To me, it's more like cream cheesecake than cheesecake, and it's very good because it's so
Flavorful.
lovely. Yeah, so flavorful, and it's not too much flavor. It's not too little flavor. It's just like the perfect
Just nice
balance.
and it's cheesy and pandanish.
Yeah, cheesy. It's got pandan, and the thing about it is, they only serve these homemade cheesecakes on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday. But if you guys are going down to Malacca, especially on the weekends, you must go and try out. At least check out their cheesecakes. At least check out their carrot cake. Have the curry laksa. You know, since you're there, might as well. And we are giving you a special 10% off of your entire receipt if you use promo code CTB10. That is CTB10.
Yep.
Valid for the entire month until the end of October and hopefully extended to November as well.
Yep. So if you're interested, make sure to Google it up. All right.
All right.
All right. Next up, fourth, using Instagram Live. Vice experimental using Instagram Live to show what happens behind the scenes before a team of presenters go live on cable. This allowed the audience a glimpse of a pre-show scenarios while showing the more casual and real side of presenters. Instead of using live to showcase the main content, consider using it to cover the unpolished before and after parts.
I like this idea. I like how a lot of people they've been using live as the official the official content itself. But instead, Vice says that instead of using it as official content, you can use it as the unofficial content, the before and after, the dressing room stuff, the behind the scenes where they are preparing to go for a show, go live on a cable show or something, or they are preparing to record a new episode of a show, and then after that, when they come back and the same group of presenters actually talk about things behind the scenes. I think that's good because you see the quality of Instagram Live is quite bad, right? You say whatever you want. I have never seen an Instagram Live that goes out that has even remotely anywhere close to HD quality. Everything is so badly done, so pixelated. It's nothing to do with your phone's quality, or it's nothing to do with your ISP.
The network.
It's nothing to do with the network. It has a lot to do with how Instagram, Facebook itself is managing the live system. It's not supposed to be high quality. It's just supposed to be fast. And because of that, the quality is quite bad. And if you want to use Facebook Live and Instagram Live as your official show, then the quality of the visual itself makes it very unappealing.
Yeah, it will degrade. So your value also seems degraded.
Yeah, right. So in terms of your brand value and brand image, it makes it look so bad.
Yeah.
But if you use it as a behind the scenes kind of content, that changes the perspective. Then it becomes, hey, quite interesting. I quite like the idea of it because you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be too high quality and everything. It just has to be casual enough.
Yeah, casual, and then yet still can see the true side of it.
Yes, that's the thing. Because whenever let's say if you have a bunch of presenters that you love so much, you want to follow and everything, like some reality show people, if you can show them something behind the scene, that's why reality shows are good, because it makes it seem as if everybody is so casual and very spontaneous.
Yep, correct.
And I think that's good. I like this idea. I think we can try it out as well.
All right, Ken. Right, the fifth one. Edit the heck of it. You want to take it?
Yep. Carrying forward from the first point, good editing is required to keep people interested on every 15-second video you post. Spend time on this, else all your effort would have gone to waste. One way of knowing how to perfect editing skill is by reviewing the viewership of your past stories collection. Find out where you start losing most attention and connect it to the intensity of that video. Then try a different method to see if you hold more attention the next time with a different angle. If not, try another approach the next time again. This works very differently with different audiences. We can't say that there is a guide to it or there is a special. Some different audiences find value differently. Some are more action-packed, attention-seeking. Some like a good cliffhanger. Some like, it's really different. Some like a good mystery. And the key here is that if you go back to the first point, right, that every point in the 15-second video needs to have a hook or a cliffhanger so that people will continue to watch the next 15 seconds. This is where it gets very tricky. So the editing is not easy. It's actually a very difficult part of shooting an Instagram story. And the only way to find out if you're doing well is once let's say maybe you put out 10 stories out, you have a look at the metrics and see at which story that people start losing attention. Maybe like story 2, you lose 50%. Story 3, you lose 80%. Then you know, okay, story 2 is the one. What happened in story 2 that story 1 did not have? What happened in story 3 that story 2 did not have? If you change the narrative of story 2, make it a bit more exciting, you change the storytelling format a little bit, then you put it out, then you see what happens phase 2. You continue to do that to find the perfect formula, have them watch all the way from first to last video.
Yep. especially in your own followers lah.
Yeah, and your own
Cater
followers.
towards their own taste.
Yep. And I don't think anybody can tell you that there is a guide to this.
It's
There is
very
no science to it. It's a
personalised.
very personalized, very subjective.
Alright.
The best way is to figure out what your audience is interested in.
Yeah, especially when like for social media, even the different platform also gives different kind of engagement
Yeah.
rate. Like for the same picture when you post on Instagram or Facebook and Facebook, Instagram tends to have better response than Facebook. You know, this kind of thing. So you really have to test it out.
I completely agree. So here is the recap on this week's Wiki Tipsy. 5 Kickass Instagram story tips from Vice. Number 1, get a storyboard. Although Instagram stories may seem like a very instantaneous and spontaneous thing, if you are able to create a storyboard, you will be able to stand out from the crowd. And you can treat your channel as something that is worth spending time on because it actually generates you more engagement than post itself. Number 2, use your in-house talents. It is more important and it works better to have your people in your company to represent you instead of your brand because they actually get more engagement than you will because that is just how social media is built. So use your in-house talents properly and you are able to tap into their following and they can tap into your following and it's a win-win for everybody as well. Number 3, use stories to pilot new ideas. Instead of spending thousands running content idea or like a set of episodes or something, use Instagram stories to actually ask them questions like, hey, do you think these kind of content would interest you? Do you think content A, B, or C, what kind of formats will interest you? By getting the answers directly from them, you know you are able to find out how and which angle to use, what kind of contents to use, even before you spend a single dime to create that content itself. Number 4, using Instagram Live. Vice says here that instead of using Instagram Live as a way to to publish an official video, use it to shoot the more casual parts behind the scenes before and after the official video or recording to showcase the more human part of all your presenters, your talents, your employees. That kind of humanizes and connects your audience with them. And number 5, edit the heck out of it. Very important, because if you take up from point number 1, where there are two parts to actually creating content on Instagram stories that actually keep people's attention onto your story. The first one is to be able to have a storyboard that flows. Second one is within every 15-second video itself, you need to have something compelling that will lead your audience, to want to watch the next 15-second video. And that is only achievable through proper editing skills.
Yep. Non-stop editing it.
Non-stop editing and keep getting better at it. So that's all for Tipsy Baby Podcast this week. Tipsy Baby Podcast is a part of Social Media Weekly and is available on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and we post bits and clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Tipsy BP, episode 11th October 2019. My name is Sean.
And I'm JK.
Au revoir.
Sayonara.